Hello and welcome back, everybody. We just concluded our first series of the day over here in APAC. We are moving on to our second match, which is going to be Dreamers versus the Hangzhou Spark.
Dreamers, they had a great showing yesterday in their match to be able to get themselves one step closer in this winner's bracket. And we're going to have to see if they can still bring it to the Hangzhou Spark, because this is kind of a grudge match. Vicky, these two teams have played each other twice this season in pretty high stakes. First time was in the finals of the spring knockout bracket, where we did see Hangzhou Spark beat them in a clean 4-0. And then this last time was at the very end of the summer stage qualifiers, and the very last match for both of these teams, where Hangzhou Spark got the better of them again in a 3-1. So to see if Dreamers can come back from this one. We're going to see Liga actually start off in the roster this time around, over what we would typically see with Dreamer actually starting.
Yeah, interesting here too. I mean, you can imagine with Liga coming in, we know that he's a masterclass diva. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because this is also Dreamers coming out from their dub yesterday versus Rhodes, but you know, having our two contenders team face off against each other, it's going to be a different look like we just saw previously in our last series against the Dallas Fuel versus Poker Face. This is also the first time that we get to see the Hangzhou Spark post patch notes, so it's basically a very similar story to Dallas Fuel, where Spark, what have you been able to adjust here moving on with the new meta that has made its appearance in the Overwatch League?
That's such a great point, because Hangzhou Spark was the team that just hard forced the Winston dive every single match. That was the look that they were the best at, and as we've seen from teams so far, yes, there are still opportunities to be able to run the Winston dive. But it's tough, especially if the enemy team is going to be playing something that's a bit more brawl-oriented, and you just might not have a great target to dive. Dreamers, though, as you mentioned, like Liga is a great diva. So maybe there is an opportunity here for Hangzhou Spark to still play the Winston dive, but we do have to find out.
Hangzhou Spark now, starting 5, coming in here. Something changing up, of course, as well as the fact that they get first map pick, as they are the higher seed. Seeing our starting lineup here for this team, I'm excited to see how they're going to work into the new meta that we have. I mean, it's very flexible. What I really love, Necra, is we're seeing a mix of everything. We see the rush, we see the dive, we see the poke. And I love that. It's so exciting. It's like the shiny new toy here that so many of these teams are figuring out, on top of a new hero and on top of a new game mode.
Yeah, that's where, like, the fact that Hangzhou Spark really wanted to just lean into the dive plays a big role here. Will they still do that? Especially when you do have all these different options that you can play around. They didn't want to in the summer stage. I definitely understand why. They were really good at the Winston dive, but this is going to be I think, a testing ground for them, a proving ground, if you will. But they need to be able to show us some versatility, especially when you know that other teams, like the Dallas Fuel, for example, another top team in the East region, playing a bastion of all things, and we saw just how hard it was for Poker Face to actually play the dive into that.
I was thinking that actually as that series was going on, you know, with the Junker Queen, the Bastion, good luck trying to play dive around that, but that's going to be a future match depending on the outcome of how this series currently goes. Maybe seeing some changes from the Spark. They're going to be cooking up anything different here. It's getting set up too. I'm excited, especially after that first series alone, seeing our Overwatch League teams having a different turnaround compared to what we had seen from the action of our old teams just yesterday, where our contender teams were profiting. Dallas Fuel and Spark. Dallas Fuel said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Now it's the Spark's turn here to follow in suit.
I think they're poised to do so, but again, it just comes down to whether or not they actually have willingness to show us something a little bit different. Dreamers, they do have the opportunity to go for something that's a little bit more brawl-oriented, and I think that's where we end up seeing Dreamer come back into the roster. That might be a look that they lean into. Whether it's for the Reinhardt, maybe even something like the Junker Queen, just anything to be able to get more up close and personal. But this first map will tell us a lot about what these teams will try to lean into for the rest of the series. It's going to be Ilios as their starting point as well, so Hangzhou Spark have always wanted to play dive on this.
Okay. Going to Ilios. I wonder what what Gushue is gonna roll out with. We've seen him, I believe in the past with that Ram. We know that Gushue has a great Winston. Dreamers on the other side. I'm paying attention to Dreamers because this is a team that has had so much success so far, even in the qualifiers with that demon being the Spark like you highlighted, Necrum. So a lot on the line here too. Aside from the fact, there's a little bit of history here between Liger and Hangzhou Spark way back in the day, where he was able to perform on his own diva on that team. But getting ready too, you talked about it. They did lose to the Hangzhou Spark twice overall so far throughout this season. Want to make sure that they elevate themselves throughout this bracket because this is one of the contenders team that has been able to put on the best performance thus far across the other two T2 teams.
And that plays a big role as well, knowing just how this region will qualify for the Overwatch League playoffs. It is about your average placement in the East and the spring and the summer knockout stages. And because Dreamers ended up getting a second place to the Hangzhou Spark in that bracket, they have one of the best chances to be able to just book their ticket to the playoffs. It would be very exciting to see a tier 2 team be able to stand among the rest of the best in the West. I think that would be really cool.
It'd be great. They could definitely do it. I mean, they finished in 5th, right above the Shanghai Dragons, Panthero 2 Blast, literally the highest placing contenders team, right behind Seoul Dynasty, who were on the other side, Hangzhou Spark. We saw them finish in 3rd. We're moving on here to the knockouts, right behind Seoul Infernal. So the crowd just waiting to get started out here too, showing their support. Always love to be able to see a crowd, even if the players aren't there, just to show that support there for your team that you want to win.
I love being able to see that. It's always fun to be able to watch these matches. Even if they're not all played on LAN, there are so many fans that come out to be able to support these teams. Let's go 3-0 Infernal. You know what? At least today, Vicky, I think we might get out on time for people to take public transit home. I don't want to speak too soon, but I do feel like we might give them a better chance today.
Potential curse, maybe? I mean, I'm all for way more than just 3 Overwatch, please. Hopefully the Necra C9 curse doesn't plague us again. Seeing the signs, I came from the airport to watch this. See the dedication for some of these fans here while our players are just waiting to get loaded in right now.
I wonder what is... I feel like, okay, so we talked about, like, Liga and Gushue and what they might bring to the table for the tank choice, but now this leaves me with questions about what DPS are we going to see? I think some of it is a little dependent on what tank like Liga and Gushue want to roll out with. I think it's pretty safe to assume that Liga might want to play the Diva and then Gushue maybe the Winston, just given what they have wanted to lean into in the past. But then, Sad and Top Dragon has been able to play so many different heroes so far, but it really has been the Echo that he's wanted to lean into the most. Next to Sad, that has played more of kind of like these long-range hit scan heroes. I think that opens up a lot of possibilities for Sad to come out with like the Cassidy or even like the Widowmaker in those situations, or just the Tracer to be able to help bolster that up in terms of a dive.
Yeah, we got to see a little bit of a sneak peek from Dreamers in their series yesterday versus Rhodes. They had Sad in match point after the first 2 maps. It was Flashpoint where they found that difficulty, where we saw other teams actually take it down to the wire on that final point. That's also something else that we have to think about, and how these different comps and adjusting to Flashpoint are going to work. We do know that the mainstay support that we see no matter what has been the Lucio. Seeing how big those maps are, it's what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Also, just theory crafting too. We saw Sad being on the shoulder too before, just yesterday.
Yeah, the map of Ilios is actually the one that Dreamers would have picked as well. That was the one that they picked for their first map in their series, being the higher seed versus Rhodes. And so we saw Ruins. We ended up seeing the Widowmaker there, of course, but Liga on the Diva. Dada and Misan just kind of sticking to their tried and true of just looking at like the Brig and the Ana, depending on like how Rhodes was trying to approach that. But we did see the Lucio and the Ana as well coming out from Dada. I think just from a classic perspective, like you probably will just run the Lucio here, but I don't know. What would be your dream composition to see?
Well, the
From
thing is
any
about
of these teams, regardless of like what they've shown us before.
I wanna highlight Dreamers just because the Hangzhou Spark, again, this is like the first look that we get to see them post patch notes, and now we get to see what they're bringing to the table. If they do want to like rely on the dive, that's something I want to move away from, even if that's their strength. Simply because I feel like that's gonna be easily exploited, especially if they are predicted to play against a team like the Dallas Fuel while they're running the Junker Queen comp. I would like to see from Dreamer's side, though, they, on the other hand, to play into their comfort. We've seen heavy strength from Top Dragon being on that Echo. Yes, we've seen the flexibility. We've seen the flexibility from Sad too. We already highlighted it before. We are moving on to Ilios here. But it's about finding where Dreamers can have the advantage with Hangzhou Spark playing on the map pick of their choice. Dreamers knows that this is where they also feel comfortable. You have the Echo that can take the high ground here on Ilios no matter what too. See how that's going to work into what Spark wants to roll out with. I also want to see more of the Ilari. I want to see more Ilari being played out here for a lot of our teams. I love it.
Yeah, that would be great. I feel like we got a chance to see a lot of it yesterday, but it's still pretty hit or miss. You know, Ilari coming into this weekend did receive a little bit of a nerf. It was just simply overpowered when she ended up getting released, and I think a lot of people were finding just tons of strength from the Captive Sun ultimate, but also the healing pylon was really powerful. So healing pylon did get nerfed, the heals decreased from 40 to 30, and then also the shields of the healing pylon also got chunked. But Captive Sun 2 also is able to be blocked a little bit now, and I think that's a huge deal to be able to actually have a way to contest that ultimate.
Literally used to just pass through barriers. Now finally can be blocked. It was able to get eaten by Diva Matrix, which I saw like a side-by-side comparison. It would literally teleport into the Matrix, even if it was slightly far, because it just has such a big hitbox. It looked funny. The animation was a little wonky there too, but all right, this is our look here. Gooseway, Junker Queen notes. Can't get too excited. Gotta see what we're gonna see, that sneak peek.
I'm
from
not
the
getting
Spark.
baited.
All right, that's why I'm saying I'm not gonna get too excited. All right, I've already done the same dance, the same song, but we are gonna be able to see on the other side what we were expecting from Dreamers after the showcase that we had seen yesterday.
I mean, this is what I expected from the Spark too. Like, this is what they leaned into all of the summer stage. And it makes sense if they are expecting Dreamers to come out of the dive. There's really no reason to play anything else. Hangzhou Spark have always gotten the upper hand on this dive for both of the series we've seen played between these two teams. So just stick to the tried and true. Why not fix something that ain't broken? And Hangzhou Spark are able to just start pressuring Dreamers off, despite the fact that Dreamers have made it to the point first.
Onto Lengsa. Sid gets taken out by Leave. Top Dragon with that focusing beam that literally makes your eyes cry now. Finding Leave. You get that trade though. Dreamers with Dada still being on the point. Neeson making his way back. Leaguer unfortunately struggling. Gets demeched as Guchway takes the high ground. Spark already controlled the space around the point here, but it was Dreamers that have been able to claim that first point initially. Just to stall, just to give themselves some extra credit for the Spark try to move in, but with Monk going down, Shy enters back with the pulse bomb, Sad leading him right back into spawn. Very skirmishy back and forth there before the Spark were finally able to flip that point right back, but it's still a nice top with Dreamers to get that 26%.
They're going to be able to come back with ultimates too. Top Dragon has already made quick work with the Echo, actually doubling that progress from Leave. So the duplicates online. You also have the Diva Bomb as well. Great way to be able to get back into the mech and just give yourself some extra staying power. Hangzhou Spark, like, they can get a lot of work done though with this Primal Rage that stalls enough for any of these DPS ultimates to come online with the Spark, and it's actually going to be the Nano one to leave.
Oh my goodness. Don't forget, with the Echo Chain, that focusing game, that damage increase from 50 to 8 to 5, it hurts out here. Oh, what an anti! Lead immediately, gets that duplicate online, with that reset here too, controls the space from the inside here on the other side. Vigor, that also has that rally ready while Top Dragon beams down Guchway, puts him in the microwave. He will be able to come right back in with the Primal. So does activate that rally here. Match that with Dada. Dada did use it second here. The duplicate. Getting the copy onto the Brigitte instead. I like this choice here from Dreamers because now Spark have so much extra credit. Nearing 65% already. It's about clearing that point with Usually being right behind Top Dragon. With that Primal, dangerous place to beat here before he jumps right back in through the window.
Hangzhou Spark have been able to have such a strong handle of the situation. The Primal Rage. You guys not gonna get staggered here, but this has been enough that Dreamers, they're on their last chance. They have used so much in these last few fights as well, and to no avail. So you're looking at the Nano, but Meeson is so low, especially getting antied there. If that had been a takedown, that probably would have just been the map. But Sad is going to be able to go in and get a recontest here. But, oh my gosh, Luke is getting bullied. Luke is actually just getting bullied.
He tried to break their ankles real quick. The alley-oop to get right back on top of that ledge there, and with the nano boost too, that survivability is there over time. Taking away in favor for the Hangzhou Spark. Leaf coming in with that nano boost and the focusing beam on top of it. That's going to be a spicy meal to deal with here as Sad comes in with the pole bomb, finds Gushwei, the duplicate. Leaf has just been able to live for so long here. Lynx, I can't say the same though. The number advantage just go in favor for Dreamers, but for how long for the Spark roll in with Gushwei making the swap over to the vault.
Alright, well we see the Diva get duplicated, but also just the duplicate leaving. As Spark still, they get a chance to regroup, but Dreamers be able to wrestle back control. After Dada goes down though, Dreamers have much less of an ability to just heal up this damage, especially when, oh, Mason's gonna go down too.
I would pulse bombs. Yes, Top Dragon as a nail in the coffin before reclaiming the point. It's only up to Dada now to try to touch, force it into overtime here too. Oh, he gets deleted the moment he put a toe on that point. Nobody else to touch as Sad gets sent all the way back after Gushwei bops right into them. Hangzhou Spark take the first round, 156.
Dreamers were able to get a decent amount of progress, but I feel like it was more Hangzhou Spark kind of letting that happen. Giving up some control, knowing that they could be patient and come back in when they had the resources to do so. And Shy, what a shark. A lot of these expert pickups are just Shy recognizing the right opportunities to be able to blink in and just finish up a lot of this damage. There weren't many opportunities for Dreamers to get away out of that line of fire. You can see why Spark ended up wanting to go over this map, not only because they knew that Dreamers would try to play the dive on this one after seeing it yesterday, but because Hangzhou Spark, after those two matches, know that their dive is stronger at this point. Shy now going to be on the Soldier 76. Really nice long-range choice to be able to wrap around this point easily and create that crossfire. Top Dragon's going to have to be very careful.
He's already had not a fun time, honestly, after that first round. He's died 6 times thus far. Has been that primary target. Meanwhile, Shy has just been on another level with Leave trying to match that against Top Dragon. Gushwei, though, needs to be careful, falling incredibly low. He can't get away. Vigor capitalizes right here. Shy now making its way right back to the point. Even though playing at a disadvantage for right now, Dreamers need to close in this space, want to take advantage, finding Lengsa. Love to see that happen here for Dreamers. Hangzhou Spark now have to disengage. This is going to go in favor for Dreamers first for that control point.
Great, nice capture from Dreamers. Being able to take down Gushwei so early was a really great way to open up that team fight for them. Gushwei then doesn't really have the ability to just work with the rest of the team to finish off those picks, and Gushwei has been a strong part of why that first round ended up going in their favor. We're going to see Shy make an adjustment. It's going to be back to the Tracer. Makes a lot of sense. Like, the Soldier's just not quite accomplishing what they would want it to, and I think Shy is much more effective on something like the Tracer, knowing how well he's performed on that hero for the rest of the season, too. Oh, look at that. Double team effort right there to take down Top Dragon.
Actually insane here too, and Shy now being back on this Tracer after everything that he was able to cook up in that first round. His pulse bombs were absolutely insane, and Leave is cleaning up what is left of Dreamers before taking over this point for the first time.
Dreamers able to get 40%, and they have ultimates to spare, so coming back into this one, It's going to be a lot of fighting power behind them with the nano, and then you also have the ability to use that self-destruct once again. It's about these duplicates finding impact, so my eyes are on Top Dragon and Leave, and what they decide to actually copy. Leave was looking at Vigo's Diva to be able to get that self-destruct too. But now it's off the board. Duplicate gone now because Top Dragon went down.
And has been that primary target. Has not really been able to find that success being on that strongest hero for himself. Shy's got that pulse bomb. Dana's gonna have to watch their back every single time Shy's got in this pulse. Dana's just been constantly harassed. Guxue's about to get that primal. Spark are working with a plethora of ultimates. Basically all the ultimates online here. Nano boost been used up. Now onto Leave, controlling that high ground here. And streamers are just backing away. Just trying to take a different route while Guxue is literally hugging their face. They're so busy dealing with Guxue, and with the primal, it's the reset that he can deal with. Tries to jump away. A nice anti onto Shy and Lynx here from Easton after using the nano boost off the data. Controlling that extra space. Goodbye. Trigger as he sends himself right down to that home. As well as Leave with that duplicate. Does get hit with another big anti, but it's going to cost Easton's life here. Leave still being alive after that reset. Finds the backline of Dreamers. No sustainability left. Hangzhou Spark still get to control this point.
That was after such an expensive fight on both sides. Vigo didn't get a chance to use the self-destruct because the fight was already over in that instance, but at least that can also come back with a pulse bomb, knowing that Hangzhou Spark used all 5 of their ultimates in that last fight. But that's devastating. That is devastating. It's going to be a trade of Anna's, but Dreamers actually get back to this point.
97% now. Sad going down though first. I think he's gonna be able to come right back in with that Diva Bomb at the very least if you have to go for the reset. Focusing beam to find Lynxa. That's the way you start things off. Top Dragon going out again though. There's that reset, controlling some of that space. Monk's about to get the nano boost and Shy's about to get that pulse bomb. Looking down Linger here too. Trying to see if he can get that opportunity to demech him. Overtime ticking away. Still in favor for Hangzhou Spark. The anti completely gets eliminated after that recall has been used up by Shy. So holding on to that pulse for right now, but it's just holding on to the front line with Guxue now with that nano boost. That's what they were waiting for to start engaging now. Leaves about to get that duplicate, holding forward, trying to push back the support line, harassing them once again. Nice! Shimmy-shitting his way around the corner to avoid the sleep on top of it all, while Leave is on the other side and Shy sandwiching the rest of Dreamers. No sustainability left. Hangzhou Spark gave that space over to Dreamers for right now before they annihilate them and take the second round. No bodies left from Dreamers to contest, and they take map number 1.
Quick work. Not as fast as our first control map of the day, but Hangzhou Spark still able to get the better of Dreamers in that dive versus dive. This is where I really start to like to look at seeing something different come out from Dreamers. We did end up seeing them switch over to something like the Orisa composition when they played Numbani, and maybe that's something that they need to lean into again. They do get a chance to pick their map. This is not something we got a chance to see too often come out from Dreamers yesterday, so to see where they take us, but it can't be a dive map, it feels like, not after how well Hangzhou Spark handled them.
And the dip that we're also seeing, honestly, between the echo of what we're witnessing right now, between Leave and Top Dragon, things need to be changed up here, even if you have to play outside your comfort. Dreamers unfortunately fall. The dominating first map win here in favor for the Hangzhou Spark. On the other side of this break, we got map number 2. We are moving on to Hybrid. Welcome back, everybody. The Hangzhou Spark. They take map number 1 on Ilios. They look so prominent on that dive for all the obvious reasons. They are the Hangzhou Spark at the end of the day, where their best comp has always been the dive. And we are moving on to map number 2 on Hybrid, where Dreamers need to start making some adjustments out here so that way it doesn't favor the Hangzhou Spark's playstyle.
It's been rough because of just how well versed these two teams are playing against each other with these dives. In the past, we have seen Dreamers opt to make some choices to put Dreamer in instead, just so they aren't actually playing the dive mirror. But if they do, it's usually Liga in the roster to be able to play the Diva. For the Spark, though, they're not making any adjustments here. They played that first map flawlessly. And so why not, again, just kind of focus on that and just keep focusing on things that are working for them. But Vicky, I still want to see different looks from them. We need to see some amount of versatility if they're going to go far in this meta.
Yeah, honestly, what I'm really excited to see is how Flashpoint is going to work out for this team in particular. That's going to be a big test that is going to come to the future, but right now let's just focus on that game to see what those adjustments could be, if they're just going to stick to what they're already finding that success on. Depending on how Dreamers is going to play this next, I feel like they were doing their best in that first round. Round 2, though, there was a lot more messiness being shown from Dreamers. It looked like there was just spaghetti all over the floor. There was not really a target focus that I was witnessing from Dreamers. There are some adjustments that we are seeing right now as Daikon does come back into this lineup, as that is going to take a step back. With these adjustments, though, right now, Dreamer wondering, want to run the Kiriko here, maybe? See how they're going to run Dagon. We did see Dagon yesterday, too, in that match that Dreamers had played.
Yeah, we did, and Dagon actually played the Baptiste, and Neeson played the Alari. So maybe looking at going for that lineup again, like that is a more classic duo we've seen start to emerge out of this current patch in meta. And it's really nice to be able to play at range and allow for something like the Orisa to actually make an appearance here. But then, you know, how does it actually do against a strong dive team? Because you did see it against Rhodes, like Rhodes played the Winston dive versus that, and that didn't go perfect. I guess is how I would put that.
Ended up in a 3-1. But Numbani, still, even though they did take it, it still was slightly close, honestly. Seeing how they were able to play around that dive, even with Rhodes making the adjustment midway through Numbani too. Going over to see what happened in that last map though, Top Dragon needs to be careful with the way that he's been the first to get picked off from Dreamers every single engagement that we've seen thus far when it comes to the beginning of these team fights.
Yeah, Top Dragon is one of those very aggressive Echo players. One of the things that he was praised for in the summer stage was being able to keep himself alive, while also, of course, taking the initiative to actually go into somebody's face and actually get those picks. Sadly, you know, Spark are very privy to that, and so Top Dragon being the main target focus, it's kind of easy to be able to catch him out of position or kind of know where his sights might be set to actually go after a target. Maybe Top Dragon still plays the Echo again. It does look like it's going to be a quick Widowmaker pick, see if you can get a headshot, but no one's peeking right now from the Spark. But we are seeing a different look from the Spark. Okay, it is the Orisa here.
Shy being on the shoulder. We did see a little sneak peek of the Shy shoulder before making the swap over to the Tracer. Leave being on the Genji here too. Not too familiar, seen this before. Gushue being on the Orisa. That's the adjustment that I want to see here too. The match against Dreamers, I see going down first though, is not how you want to start things off on your attack, your Dreamers. Nice mortality just to help out Dagon before he gets hit with an anti from Monk. He's been on point with hitting these initial antis, but they do get to survive. It's the reset that they're going to be able to go for.
Now, the mortality field coming in clutch so that Dreamers don't get staggered too much. Hangzhou Spark, they're starting to make a backup though, as Dreamers are going to bully their way forward. I think there's now time to actually take that anti. It is so low, they have to be careful.
Oh. That Matrix, though, they can definitely clean up what is left of the Spark after that first pick onto Monk. Gushue in a lot of trouble, so is Lee. He can't get away. Shy does have that visor, but understanding there was a lot of pressure without Monk being there and Gushue now just trying to give Dreamers that space. They're looking for an opportunity to hold that next corner before Dreamers go through those gates.
That was a fast take.
Oh, wow.
Now Hangzhou Spark, they need to show us that they understand this composition and this matchup. They were able to get some good picks early on, but the biggest wrench into this plan is the fact that Top Dragon is on this Echo. You can't deflect that focusing beam away if you're the Genji. Shy cannot be the only player to actually try to contest that. It's just going to take a little bit more to deal with an Echo that is as proficient as Top Dragon. And before you had the Winston be able to help with that. You don't have that anymore.
Here, Rissa, Terra Surge, everybody huge. Come to me! Backline gets deleted. Gushwei finding the opportunity when everybody was funneled over in that side room for Liga manages to get away. As the Terra Surge themselves, but way better outcome here for the Hangzhou Spark because now they can also control this extra space, how open it is, while putting in some poke pressure from Leaf, just jumping onto that high ground.
Oh, that was so beautiful too. You saw the combo where the Spark were able to take out the Immortality field before Gushwei was able to smack down that spear, and that was why that really opened up the door, but it's time for Leaf to show us what he's got.
Shoot everything! Shoot the pylon, shoot the Immortality field, and most definitely swing at Sad here, but Liger finding the opportunity to take advantage of the attempt on the blade. Hangzhou Spark forming themselves inside that room. It was another Terra Surge that was just waiting to happen, but this time it was done by Liger. Gushwei making the swap over to that Winston, wasting no time with Dreamers getting this extra progress on the point.
Spark don't look comfortable on the Orisa. This is a really smart choice. Just get off of it now. See if the Winston's going to be enough to actually push you forward. And now Shy is down.
Oh, off. Sad using that visor too. Shy, unfortunately, doesn't have the same success. Jumping right in is going to be Gushwei just to contest here too. Leave though working off crumbs. While Shy, Monk there profiting over on the other side though, losing out on Lengsa. Sacrifice that had to happen. With the backline gone from Dreamers, it's going to be a team wipe in favor for the Hangzhou Spark, and now they're going to be able to get set up on high ground, which is great because they are going to be able to work into the ults that they didn't have initially for that last fight.
We're looking at Primal Rage from Gushwei to be one of that first ultimates online, but Monk with the nano boost can also get that up really quickly to help just top up one of those ultimate charges. That card is very far forward though to that second trap point, so Dreamers could just take castle side and get to that card, force Hangzhou Spark off of that high ground. But they're getting pincered right now. Dreamers do not want to be stuck here for too long.
Imagine how the pylon also works inside that side room too. Trying to hold that high ground here from the Spark and allowing Dreamer to just take that other rotate on the other side. Anti-Hunter Liger here. Top Dragon Dagon Gushwei popping off alongside Lengsa to put him in position. Shy having his duel against Sad, getting the revenge that he needed, and now Spark, they only really use that nano boost. They don't really have to use too much here. They have the 3 ultimates online for that next team fight.
Really nice to have that economy when you know that Dreamers only have minute 30 left to go through. Try to grab the second checkpoint and give themselves 2 more legs in this game. But with the Genji Blade, we saw that the Immortality for Dagon just wasn't enough when the Terra Surge was online there from Gushwei. And that Anti too?
Oh, tries to back away, but still Top Dragon, his turret, set up a position to stop the engagement with the Blade. Still was able to find Sad, who's going to be able to come in. About to get that visor. Is Lengsa trying to contest? Okay, no, he comes back. He's riding on the roof. I was wondering, oh, but Liger was able to find Shy with the Javelin, getting right on top of the high ground. Anti onto both Eason and Sad. They're just trying to isolate Monk over to the side while Gushwei had popped Primal, looking at the face of Dreamers, seeing that Liger was going in for a split position away from the rest of the team. Spark having to back away, and this is extra progress that Liger's trying to get while having the Terraform ready.
Terrasurge could be nice to be able to group up the players on Hangzhou Spark, but who do you target at this point? Everybody has mobility. Even Lengsa is able to help Monk get out of the way. And the Molten Core just to push Spark away? That's 2 zoning ultimates now instead of being able to convert that over into actual kills.
Also, Lengsa push Gushwei into position as he jumps onto the high ground. He can't get away. Eason chases after him. with that outburst to get up to the high ground. Still though, Shy being there ready. The javelin deflect right back to Leader's face here, and Lenksa about to have that sound barrier with nobody else left to touch the point. It doesn't even matter. Dreamers don't have the numbers there to contest and push that payload to that second point.
Score 0.
Maybe we do need to see a few more looks from the Hangzhou Spark, but their dive is still their strongest. And after playing the Orisa the first half of the defense, it was just the Winston default when they felt like that just wasn't working.
Oh, this is a follow-up too. Wait.
Oh, man. These Lucios have been having a time today.
Too much going out here. Love
Right?
to see it with the follow-up there too. With the way the Hangzhou Spark played that though, and being aware that Leader was trying to push over on the other side, Dreamers playing a little bit separate, they were still very aware to disengage and try to match that pace with Dreamers in terms of positioning. So that way, the opportunity to get flanked was denied, even considering how Dreamers kept trying to push over from the castle, trying to take advantage of Meeson being on this Hilari, using that pylon inside against those walls. Not enough sustainability right there. Hangzhou Spark now being on the attack. Seeing what they're going to roll out with here if they do want to stick with
No
this.
mistakes. No mercy.
I'm not holding my breath, but I will talk about the defense. We're going to see more of that kind of Orisa Alari poke composition that's starting to come to the forefront. Turbine is nicer on the defense just because you can set up that turret a little bit farther back. And with what Spark are actually running, there aren't too many characters that can go toe-to-toe with that turret without having to invest in mobility cooldown. But here's the symmetric teleporter, and I don't think Dreamers were very prepared for that.
This is what we've been seeing here. Spin to window with some follow from Sad allows them to take care of Shy. Prevent the turret setup here. Patience before taking care of Leaf. Sends him right back home. The Demon Orisa spinning so fast, maybe she can fly sometimes. Trying to get that last member as Lenksa tries to get away. But that was a good answer back. Good retaliation after seeing the attempt from Spark with that teleporter. And there we go again. Lenksa trying to speed boost everybody from the Spark right back into position, but it costs his life first here, so it's another delay here for the Spark while they wait to re-engage.
I would like to see Spark try this one more time, but then I think if it doesn't work, you want to make sure that you can work with your time bank to actually get ultimates online. Otherwise, Dreamers are going to start to outpace you. You know, Terra Surge is starting to creep up there. You've got Dagon and Meeson both getting their support ultimates online quite quickly. But look at this Alari pylon. That's really where the strength of this defense composition comes in. Is how do you actually approach that? And yeah, you're gonna have to just send leave after that one.
On the windows on one side there. You destroy that pylon too. Outburst to get on top of the high ground. Once it's destroyed, it's that 12-second cooldown, I believe, there. Turret's gonna be able to find Leave. We'll be able to approach next fight with that blade. The Kitsune rush from Monk. Hangzhou Spark understanding with 2 minutes, less than 20 seconds here, and Goopsway getting the rampage already. Will finding Monk right after that rush is over. Lenksa just gets the sound barrier, but staggering through, it's gonna be another reset here for the Spark.
So I can see the thought process behind using the Kitsune Rush after Leave had already been eliminated. You're hoping that that speed is going to be plenty to actually get a bit damage down and then also give yourself an opportunity to just blow something open. If you get a pick, that's great. You're in great position. But Photon Barrier now, Hangzhou Spark is starting to run out of time. They need to get first results.
Split the point in half here. Gonna be able to see that Terra Surge coming in, doing the damage, but it isn't the follow-up that they were looking for as Leave dashes in, has that blade, but their numbers have already been on the board with Leader not being there. Top Dragon activating the multi-core. Only so much space you can try to build in when you don't also have the follow-up. They're not on the point, they're able to wrap around you. Hangzhou Spark finally get this payload moving.
I know it wasn't, but it really looked like an Ego Molten Core. Like, the 1v1s we've seen between Top Dragon and Leave have just been really funny and very entertaining to watch. Top Dragon has been getting the upper hand with the Torbjorn, whether it's been the turret or just a hammer to the face. But Leave now gets a chance to get some revenge. You got the Dragon Blade online. He's just going to switch over to the Winston. Try to enable some of this verticality that is offered on the second point. Dreamers are set up first, and so Crucially on the Winston will really be able to help push them off.
Look at that adaptation here too. Trying to prioritize being able to get onto the high ground. Ooh, nice up. Be careful. The Soundbearer ready, while Leaf is looking for the opportunity to shove everybody off this higher ground. The visor has been activated. The Soundbearer from Lengsa helping Leaf stay in this fight. Having to back away just in time for Liger. He's going to be able to try to pressure him out. Here comes the Captive Son from Eason. Over on the side, you're trying to contest him over the side. Ruby's got the health back on top of it. Unfortunately from Eason, Shy was already ready. Now having the high ground control here too is exactly what's going to work into this composition from the Hangzhou Spark with Shy being enabled. Sad's going to meet his demise here, and Liger's going to meet him back in the spawn.
That was so clean. And that's so sad too, because Eason's Captain Sun, it just got activated at a really awkward time. You were already trapped in these small choke points. There was no follow-up from the rest of your team. And that is sadly now an ultimate that's off the board, knowing that Dreamers don't have a whole lot of time left. Hangzhou Spark are inching ever closer to that final checkpoint. Monk does go down, but this is just a lot of utility that they're able to get out of Dreamers' kit.
He was shimmy-shading his way left, right, doing the cha-cha slide before leaving. Gushwei come in, individually get the 2K. He was close to getting that blade, literally won. Gushwei tries to get away. The Liger's right there with the javelin to claim his head. Hangzhou Spark still have so many ultimates that they could work with into this next fight, but a very good defense here will hold for Dreamers here while still maintaining that high ground approach.
Liger's still gonna struggle to get this Terror Surge to actually convert over to a pick. Be nice to at least use it as a zoning ultimate, but it's gonna be Leaf's turn to strike first.
With the nano boost on top of that. Finding the back line here. It's gonna be a cleanup on aisle 3. Managing to come right back up to the point while Top Dragon had made that adjustment, swapped over to that Tracer off that Torb, and maybe finding himself off the map. Regardless though, the numbers were in favor for Dreamer. Liga gets hit with an anti on top of it. No amount of outcome in favor for Dreamer out of that Terror Surge. Hangzhou Spark managed to get that payload to that shiny box of victory, but it was very difficult. Nonetheless, Dreamer were doing a good job on that defense, but since they didn't get that progress on the payload on their attack, it was difficult to hold them back in that specific section right before that second point.
Especially when at the very end of it too, you saw Spark focus down everybody else on Dreamer's side except for Liger, knowing that the Terror Surge is just not gonna be enough. I feel like that's just nice map and situational awareness coming through from the Spark, and we're seeing a repeat in history. Feels like we're just watching the third time's the charm, as Hangzhou Spark may just look to get another full match win over Dreamers. Dreamers have to turn it around somehow. It's been a default there of the Winston, but Dreamers need to find a way to break it, Vicky.
It's gonna be difficult. Alexa drinking his coffee. Right now, Hangzhou Spark are locked in, and they are showing us nice different looks, you know, changes here for the Hangzhou Spark. You can see they can be very flexible with this post-patch composition that we've been seeing rolled out with a lot of our teams. That's gonna be map 2 done in the books. We got map 3 Flashpoint after this break. Welcome back, everybody. We got the Hangzhou Spark currently sitting at match point. We are moving on to map number 3, and we are taking our trip over to Flashpoint.
Now it's time to see how Hangzhou Spark are going to tackle this new obstacle. I feel like we just might see more of the same, but hey, Gushui's been showing us a few new looks, and I really appreciate that. We saw some Marissa, we've seen some Junker Queen. It still has been a default of the Winston. No, I do not like bananas, is what that sign does say. But I think Hangzhou Spark is fine with the monkey business. It really does seem to be working out for them.
I mean, when I think about Dive, when I think about that Winston, I think about Gushui. I saw a sneak peek of the Junker Queen, but you know, even Gushui was like, I'm swapping as quickly as possible over to the Winston after they got that payload moving. I definitely agree with that. But it's about that comfort too, because while we do move on to New Junk City and seeing how they're already performing against streamers, we gotta address how their bracket's gonna be looking like moving forward. You know, one step at a time here, but that demon of a team that is the Dallas through after that series that we just saw previously against the Poker Face, Hangzhou Spark could use this opportunity to practice some of the flexibility that we're currently seeing being brought out into this current series.
A great point, because Hangzhou Spark look like they've already locked this down. Their dive has been very immaculate, as we've come to expect from the Hangzhou Spark, but they do need to start figuring out a way to deal with that Bastion. Like, that is the next boss, and Vicky, it was already tough to watch how Poker Face were trying to approach that raid boss, and it was really tough to get through. Even when they were running their own Winston dive, even when they were playing around with their own DPS choices, there was just nothing that really was able to chew through that ball of sadness. Honestly, it was just sadness. It was just domination. And so how are Hangzhou Spark going to do that? Because the dive just doesn't really feel like it's going to be as effective as dealing with it kind of head on with your own type of brawl.
Definitely not in the mirror. That's that's not what I want to see. Focusing on this current series at the very least, though, seeing Dreamers, we are seeing some changes. Data is coming right back in. I want to highlight how scrappy a lot of the fights have been in the first 2 maps. We highlighted after map number 1 how the target focus didn't seem like it was there. The communication seemed off from Dreamers. But then going on to map number 2, we basically saw the same thing, except we saw a lot of scrappy fights happening in different parts of that point B section of Eichenwalde. Now moving on to New Junk City, this is the game mode when it comes to Flashpoint, where we see those team deathmatch brawly type of fights happening in different parts of the map when it comes to these points that get unlocked randomly after that first initial point. Seeing how quick a team can get there, we can expect both teams to potentially be running that Lucio, so that way you can cross that distance even quicker, maybe even the Symmetron. But like you said, Necro, this is going to be the first time we get to take a look at how Hangzhou Spark take control over this specific map, if their compositions are going to allow them to find that success here.
It's really tough to call. I think when you look at New Junk City, it just has so much more open territory. It plays into what we expected to see coming out from Poker Face, right? A lot of room to jump around with, be able to play something with the Winston or the Doomfist. And we did see how much verticality that you get to play around with, but I don't know. I mean, the Dreamers are going to go over that for that same reason, but Spark, again, just have constantly had the upper hand with these dive mirrors.
Initial Flashpoint Arena.
Okay. Still sticking to the Winston. Is what's working for them. This is what their comfort is. Shy being on the shoulder, though, has definitely been something nice. He's been taking out the shoulder for the last 2 maps here, too. Playing on the other side, though, of this arena. Gonna get some of the extra poke pressure. Monk has honestly been on another level when it comes to some of these antis that we've seen on the other side. Trying to eat that over if he has that opportunity. Same thing about Meeson if he can try to match that here too. But it's finding this mirror here while Dreamers doesn't have the Lucio. And Gushu, of course, being on that Winston, Liger being on that Diva. Sad, another anti though. The follow-up finds the backline, leave capitalizing off of finding Sad. That was the opportunity that they were waiting for. That's what I was wondering here, if they wanted to try to get the follow-up. But this is also the difference of not having that Lucio that Hangzhou Spark have.
Now, Dreamers leading into the Brig and the Ana is it just puts them at such a disadvantage. You don't have the ability to make those rotations as fast as Spark, and Liger got absolutely staggered. That is going to buy a lot of time for the Spark to just start working up to that percentage where Dreamers may only have one good contest in them. If they take time to be able to get back to this point, then that's less time that they have to come back in if the fight doesn't go their way. Pulse Bomb could open things up for Top Dragon. Mason also does have the Nano Boost online, but it's 2 for 2 here. Spark are also working up their own ultimates.
Seeing how Monk capitalizes off this Nano. Dreamers dropping down to the low ground, trying to take control over this point before it gets contested. Here goes that Nano Boost from both sides here. Onto Sad, onto Gooshway here, so that survivability gonna be able to overcome that of Dreamers, but Top Dragon with that pull still finds Shy, but they are outnumbered, no sustainability for Dreamers, and the Hangzhou Spark are gonna be able to walk away with this first point.
Already going to start to get a move on to the next one. This is where Flashpoint opens up. We've got 4 more locations that we can go to, and it looks like Spark already know how they want to approach this next one. We're going to that top right corner. As you can see, Dreamers also getting set up. So let's go over to the junkyard and see how these two dive teams can square off against each other. Spark still have 4 ults to spare.
What's beautiful is that they only had used that Nano Boost, and they were building up those ults. Really good call right here, Hangzhou Spark, working around that economy. Meanwhile, on the other side, Dreamers still struggling. Shy taking the high ground while having the visor. Even trying to mark him down. And on the other side, misses the pulse bomb stick. He's right there, unfortunately. With the recall here too, though, and the visor coming in, the follow-up from Top Dragon. After Sad puts in that pressure, Top Dragon cleaning up Lynx and Shy. This is now Dreamers' time to shine, flip things around as they get to control the point first here.
All right, Dreamers able to get control first, and we know how this story can go. Most of the time when the team actually does capture that Flashpoint first, they are able to take it all. Especially after getting a few ultimates out of Spark's Kid, the Pulse Bomb and the Nano Boost no longer active. And Dreamers being able to hold on to a lot of their own. Like, this is much more back and forth than what we have expected to see coming out from this Winston dive versus the Diva dive. It's about keeping that up, though, as they're just going to have to use the self-destruct to get back in.
Rally activated here, Sad being able to find lead. Here comes a sound barrier, but Monk goes down right before Lynx could help him out. With Gooshway, though, having the primal, that survivability is still there to stall on that point if they decide to. Lynx having to rotate around, no sustainability, while Monk makes his way over to Gooshway. He's going to save that primal for right now, re-engage potentially. But with Dreamers already nearing 75%, with how quick that point goes, Dreamers looking to continue on, moving on to the next point potentially here.
I think they can. I mean, Spark might look to try to recontest this. You can see the hovering around the point, whether or not they actually want to make the triple blink in. Oh, if they're able to get someone down like Top Dragon, that is absolutely an opportunity to do that. But there's tons of sustain, and Hangzhou Spark can come in and actually get a clean recontest.
Nice anti-Nano Boost onto Liger. Top Dragon is first to go down here. It's a trade, though, onto Lengsa. Monk's about to get the Nano Boost, too. Helps out Gooshway stay alive. Liger finding Shy here too. It's just lead Gooshway and Monk left on this point. Nice anti onto Sad. Monk has been on top of it, but with no survivability and Lynx not being there too after getting wiped out. Hangzhou Spark move right back into this point. Playing around that wall though. Trying to disengage, playing off that number disadvantage, but the overtime's ticking away, so they have to stay engaged in this fight.
Yeah, you can see Gooshway attempting to try to get back to the point, but there were no supports to be able to keep him alive. And now Gooshway is not available to head to this next Flashpoint immediately. So Dreamers do get a chance to have a bit of an upper hand when it comes down to that player versus player advantage. But Gooshway is out of spawn, and we will be heading over to Refinery to see how Spark are going to handle this next one as they are able to actually move into point first.
Also spawning here too. Quick with the setup. Sad does have that visor ready. Top Dragon with that pulse. Hangzhou Spark had a pretty expensive last fight there. I used his visor the last 2 fights. Nice first pick here before Top Dragon still gets that stick on the Shy. It's a trade here for both these teams while Sad has that visor activated, clears some extra space. Gooshway forced to disengage for right now. Give Dreamers over some of the extra control before re-engaging. Nice anti coming in from Sin. It's up to Monkey Gooshway. No follow-up just yet. Look at 2. Manages to get away, got away with some help from Dada and Meeson. Playing very poke from afar, not trying to fully commit.
Which is unusual because usually when we see Liger play the D.Va, it's just about trying to execute and follow up on picks. Just lead the aggressive charge. But you do have to play it in a different style when you know that Hangzhou Spark are also an aggressive team.
Oh, they try to dive onto the backline, putting in that extra pressure, but Lexa had that rally ready as the insurance. The rally answered back from Dada, gets that shield bash initially there, but no follow because Shy had the visor, had the damage, breaking right through that and finding a 4K on top of it all. Make it a 5K, give it to him, they have to. Cleaning up the whole team here at the hands of Shy. Spark, take that team fight, and they needed it too because Dreamers were already at 64%.
And 64% now is still a comfortable amount of time for Dreamers to be able to get back into this one, and also for Hangzhou Spark to have another recontest. You're usually looking at kind of like the 66% mark, maybe 70%. If you are really confident you can get back to the point fast enough. But now it's about to get matched here for the Sparks. The Dreamers, they have one more chance to get back into this one too. And it's just a self-destruct. So Liger gets 2 lives in this game, but Sparks still have 3 ults to spare.
Oh, Reason thought about it. Thought about throwing out the ante. Shy. Kind of sad here. The ante did land onto Monk. Has that nano boost ready. And with 97% bringing around the corner here, Hangzhou Spark have the advantage. Overtime activated. They don't even have to burn those ults. Necra puts Gushue to sleep. Overtime ticking away, burning away before Dada falls. Next here, it's just up to Meeson, and Dreamers have to go in for a reset while Leave minutes of his life out here on Flashpoint. It's nice because then Leave could just quickly get to where that next point is going to unlock, but still, with this distance, Dreamers does have that slight advantage in the distance.
Yeah, Dreamers are going to be able to meet Spark there. Shy, though, taking a nice off angle as we head over to that top left corner. Are going to be going over to Bomb Arena. And this is where we have more open area to play around, but it's these soldiers that are going to have some of the most impact. So watch out for Shy and Leap from the Spark. Watch out from Sad and Top Dragon. See which targets they try to hunt down in the back.
Wow. Huge pick there. He wanted to try to contest, maybe try to go for a stick on that pulse. Gushue putting in some extra pressure. Meeson has that nano boost onto Sad, who activates the visor on the other side. Love the cutoff though from Gushue to try to stop where he wanted to rotate. Still finds Shy first despite that. Putting down the barrier right in front of his face. Gushue doing such a good job at hugging his face here too. Trying to body block them, but he takes way too much damage off the pulse, off the ante. Even the damage initially at the very end of that visor here. Nika goes down. Rally activated first from Linksa. Dada's still holding on to his. Top Dragon gets deleted. Teamed up here too. While Spark still have control over this point here first, but they're still fighting for a Necro.
They are. It's just about over. Dreamers, they needed to try to get back into this one. At least they force out the tactical visor from Shy, and that is going to be 4 ults off the board. But Leave on this Tracer has had such a tremendous impact in this game to be able to get pick after pick, pulse bomb after pulse bomb, and with one available, this could just be it. Dreamers' final chance to get back into this one and take us to a Flashpoint number 5.
Hold up. Nope. Not the
Wait a
fly
minute.
swatter out here. Top Dragon tried to be a little cheeky with that, but still can't flip it. Favor for Spark, nearing 100%. They got a contest here now into overtime. Force the overtime here. Top Dragon was able to blink right on top of that point, alongside Dada, who's right there to help him out. Sends out that pulse, doesn't get the stick or the pick that they needed. While Meeson playing a lot more passively right back here, alongside Dada. Very scrappy too to play around these walls that you have from bomb flats. Huge anti onto Gushue with the follow-up. Sad capitalizing. Nearing another visor, by the way. Liger's trying to isolate Shy on the other side. Monk one. Trying to get away while Lexa gets annihilated here. This is the team fight win that Dreamers needed to flip that point, but at 99% Necra. How long can they hold on to this?
They actually have a good chance to. They have ultimate economy right now. They've got 4 ults. Dada might even be able to get the rally online, but now it's about Spark. Lengths up with the rally. Can that come online fast enough to be able to help Spark shore this up? One more team fight to see who's going to be able to take this one. Dreamers, though, they do need this win on this point to give themselves another life. But it's attack visor first. Sads get that first pick.
Oh, with the backline going out though. Hangzhou Spark, no, time is against them in this moment. Backing away, I like the call to disengage, but this also means that Dreamers still have almost 3 ultimates without about to get that rally, but still ultimate to work with nonetheless.
Absolutely. And maybe the Nano comes online too, but do Spark really feel confident being able to actually make another pass at this? Top Dragon's in the back. Shy's gonna have to be careful, but I don't know if anyone can get there. Guxue just barely able to touch the point in the nick of time.
Does his job. Gotta continue pushing it onto overtime here though. Leave. Helps extend it. Rally. Used up by Lexa. Nano boost used on the Shy who activates the visor. Ooh, huge shield bash, but still. With that rally activated on the other side and the damage output from Shy, he's able to melt down, control some of the extra space. Diva Bomb controlling now the other side, but not enough numbers on the point from Dreamers. Hangzhou Spark needed to work with the limited ultimates that they had in that final fight against Dreamers, taking it in a clean 3-0 fashion on New Junk City. Very scrappy though. Hangzhou Spark, I was expecting to be a little bit more cleaner after what we had seen, especially on Eichenwalde.
But that's just the chaos that Flashpoint provides, right?
True.
You've got that middle point, and then all of a sudden, it's up to a random element of where we end up going next. And sometimes it really is Dreamers that thrive in that chaos. It was very close, and as that map progressed, it got closer and closer between these two teams. But Hangzhou Spark, once again, coming out victorious with the dive. Vicky, this is the 3rd time in a row now that Hangzhou Spark have been able to get the better of Dreamers.
I'm just thinking to myself, imagine if that rally into that shield bash would have allowed Dreamers, if they had it, like a pulse bomb in there too, just to stick onto the soldier that was using that visor. So many different things Dreamers could have rolled out with different, but the number advantage in this set history still goes in favor to the Hangzhou Spark Necra. We're able to run away with that. Love to also see the different looks that we have been seeing from the Spark, and by different, we saw little glimpses. Guxue still sticking to the Winston for most of the part, so hopefully we get to see more flexibility from the Spark after taking this dub.
Spark did try. Like, we did see, yeah, just a few other of those tank choices. I think that there's still a lot more that the Spark can offer, but when you look at it being average placement to just get an instant invitation over to the playoffs and bypass the play-ins, really, I think you just need to lean into your comforts and lean into your strengths. Let the rest of it fall into place when you know you've got a few more weeks to actually play around with that. But our player of the match is Leave. After an explosive start on Ilios with the Echo, being able to bring it to even Top Dragon's Echo going in that 1v1. Leave just just put Spark ahead in such a dominant fashion.
It was a huge statement at the very beginning too, because they know that Top Dragon likes to use that Echo. Top Dragon feels very comfortable on this pick. Obviously too, this does benefit the Echo pick, and that just worked amazingly into Leaf. And you could tell that Leaf was having fun on this Genji too.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when you know the Genji is finally meta relevant again. Oh, the deflex just, squaring up with a tank on the enemy team. That is so fun. You know that these DPS are having the time of their lives, whether it's the Genji, the Soldier, the Bastion, the Tracer, the Echo. We've kind of seen it all at this point, Vicky, in this meta.
And a lot of different things that helped enable Leap here. Not only was the Nano Boost coming in from Monk to keep him alive with that blade, but we also saw some great answers coming in from Monk. Lensa having some highlight moments and putting Leap into position before following up with Guxue. But this is what the Spark do best on this dive comp too. Just playing into that comfort while Shy being on that shoulder, creating so much space with that visor to help enable Leap, trying to cut them off in the back end with a flank route. Love to be able to see this look from the Hangzhou Spark. First time, also, that we get to see the Hangzhou Spark in the knockouts. So it's important because we say the same thing about the Dallas Fuel, who they will be meeting up in the bracket. But it's about the changes that these two teams have been able to bring after a short break and some adjustments into the meta and a new game mode on top of it.
We've had a few weeks to prepare for this, but it is always exciting to see these new elements added, especially when you have a high-stakes bracket like the knockouts. And so every team definitely looking at trying to have that average placement to move forward. But Spark, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think that when you have that on the line, you may as well just kind of keep with the tried and true. But I love their approach to Flashpoint so far. They had some really strong understanding of being able to get that last touch, like Guxue able to go in, put his toe on the point, make sure that they were able to just proc the overtime so that they could just secure the map. There's a lot of really bright moments outside of just the composition themselves that we're seeing from Spark. I can't wait to see what they do next. Even if they did attempt a few different things and it didn't quite work out, they're still willing to, and that's what we wanted to see come out of this match.
Well, they got the time, at least now, to focus on what they do want to work out, and they also have some information after the series that they could take a look at from the Dallas Fuel versus Poker Face. Because once again, for those guys just tuning in, going in through the bracket, Hangzhou Spark are going to be facing off against the Dallas Fuel in that upper bracket final for this group alone. So right now, the Hangzhou Spark are still resorting to where they feel comfortable. They made some adjustments here or there, but with the way that the Dallas Fuel look and the way that they're able to take advantage of the Junker Queen, good luck trying to run that Winston, or I'm not expecting a mirror whatsoever. It's going to be way too difficult, but why don't we ask them their thoughts after taking that dub versus Dreamers, a team that was dominating in the contender space, now falling into that lower bracket. Hello, Gushwei, how are you?
Oh, hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Gushwei. It was a great performance to be able to see you guys play again. I have so many questions, but I'm going to start off with, how did you feel about today's matches versus Dreamers? We're going to start with the basic stuff. And with the changes, are you going to be sticking to the Winston? Are you going to be sticking to the strength that the Hangzhou Spark have had being on this dive?
首先恭喜今天的获胜，然后今天打 Dreamer 的比赛也是一个非常漂亮的3-0。想问一下队友们对这个结果是不是心里有一定预期的？然后也看到杭州队今天用了一个新阵容，想问一下杭州队接下来这样的打算会是怎么样的？会继续使用温斯顿之类的英雄
？3-0 Dreamers 算是预期吧。对于今天拿来新阵容，我觉得每个队伍都会每个队伍的理解吧。每个队伍这版本，我觉得很多阵容都能玩，每个队伍打的阵容也不一样。大部分队伍都拿了自己擅长的阵容，包括今天也拿了有一些新阵容，比如那个埃奇瓦尔的女王，主要是上把看那个兵哥砍的有点爽，所以自己上去玩了一会儿。
So yeah, 3-0 against Dreamers is definitely expected. And speaking of like new comps, we personally think this meta is a really fluid and various meta. Every team just play what they feel most comfortable with. Like for example, what we use on Eichenwalde on Junker Queen. The reason is because when we were watching the last match, the Dallas match, the Hambing's Queen performance is really exciting, and I kind of want to play Queen a little bit more. So yeah, that's why we picked Queen on that map.
Awesome to see that versatility coming out from your team. But talking about the Dallas Fuel, do you think you can get it done versus them? Can you get the win?
那么既然刚才提到了达拉斯两大队，他们今天的表现也是非常的强势。想问一下，接下来如果对阵到他们的话，杭州队有没有战胜的信心呢？
对战达拉斯的话，信心还是蛮大的吧，因为毕竟前2阶段打达拉斯也都赢了，而且最近也和达拉斯打过一些训练赛，所以大家都比较知根知底，所以对我来说，我还是蛮有信心的。
Yeah, we are pretty confident against Dallas. One is because when we played them a couple of times in our matches before, and we all take the victory. And also, we've been scrimming with them quite a lot recently, and I'm really familiar with their playstyle, and I'm confident we can beat them.
I love that. I love being able to hear that confidence there too. That's what we need to see. Well, moving away from your next matchup, I want to know your thoughts on Flashpoint. It looked very scrappy there. There was some individual fights we saw on Eichenwalde. We saw the same thing happening on Flashpoint. How are you feeling about the new game mode?
那么下一个问题是关于我们的新地图闪点模式的，想问一下整体对这个模式的感觉怎么样呢？因为我们感觉在打的时候还是比较混乱的，就经常有这些小的团战在发生。
我觉得闪点图还是挺有意思的，基本上都是在无限打架。
I think the Flashpoint mode is pretty fun because we are basically like fighting against enemies all the time and just keep doing things. Yeah, that's all.
It was fun to be able to watch that. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next. What's your favorite Flashpoint map? Do you have one?
那么既然闪点模式也是出了几张不同的地图，想问一下，你的哪张闪点的地图是最有意思的呢？你个人最喜欢的？
那两个图的名字我有点记不得，反正就是那个，我记得有一张是个新扎克镇，就是新扎克镇的另一张图。虽然我不知道叫什么名字，我觉得那张图我蛮喜欢的。
就是有什么具体的哪里比较喜欢的原因吗？
我觉得强点图主要就是随机性比较大嘛，就是因为它5个点，你也不知道哪个点会在哪里刷。我觉得这个是蛮有意思的。
So Gushou said he can't remember the name correctly, but he mentioned it with another map of China, so I guess it's New Junk City. And he thinks why it was fun is because you have like 5 points in that map, and it was full of randomness, so it's kind of different experience when you're playing the map. So yeah, it's really fun.
Definitely agree on that. I love being able to see how the new hero and the new game mode has been able to contribute to the meta here in Overwatch League. Guxue, thank you so much. Don't want to take any more of your time. Congrats on the win, and thank you for talking to us. Have a good day.
好的，那也是感谢顾许真友今天的采访，希望接下来比赛中也一切顺利。
谢谢，拜拜。
Thank
Bye,
you.
Guxue. Thank you. Shout out to Evelyn as well with the translate. Love being able to talk to Guxue. All right. 2 series done and dusted. Necro, we say goodbye and we get to say hello to our final 2 series of the day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere because we got some more Overwatch League action coming to you soon.